higher up, and then you can keep your laptop there if you want.
And I can lower this a little bit.
I like that.
The stickers. Whoop.
That can be too high.
If you tilt it, it's a little high. Yeah. There. Working through some technical difficulties. Can you tilt the camera down slightly? There.
What?
I'm in a winter coat and you're in a t-shirt.
Okay, well, we have very, very different levels of temperature. Let's see. There's one person who's probably me on my other computer. So
But if it's not him, hi.
I need to remember to look there and not here. We're going to give this a few minutes, and hopefully more people decide to show up. If not, we're going to talk to
Me, you,
ourselves.
and Woo.
The dog's here. The cat's here. Someone's having a fire, which smells good. We also got fruit snacks, so that's pretty good.
All right, so we're going to hang out and eat our snacks while we wait and see if someone left. It wasn't you. Oh.
Okay. Let's see. Settings, auto 720. Looks
I
great.
think that's the highest it'll go because of I'm not paying for EOS webcam.
Yeah, just fine. Okay, so there's definitely a delay.
30 seconds.
That's true. Let's see, we got one person. If
Welcome.
you're a real person and not me on my other device,
Say hi
let
in
us
the
know
chat.
in the comments. I love gumbears, fruit snacks. Those matzo ones were so good the other day.
Those were good.
Okay, now it's getting chilly.
Now who's dressed properly?
Fine with that.
Hey.
We're gonna take a photo of our setup for all of our one people. Let's go, Chris. Just recording the back.
On the back of the screen.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Right when the clouds rolled in.
I know. Why does it be like that? How do we change this? Oh, I gotta do one of those. All right, two people. Are there actual two people? If you're real two people, put your name in the side. Wow, it's been so sunny all afternoon, and now
The moment we started this, it got very cloudy.
activity wide.
If you just joined, we're waiting a few minutes, allowing people to show up. Eating a snack.
I wondering where our family is, because if they don't love us enough to watch this, you guys are our new family.
Don't let me forget that.
That's true. Smart. Trash can. Definitely like a 30-second delay. That's so weird. There we go. So now at least I know. Look that way.
I like looking at myself there.
It's confusing because that's where the webcam is, but that's not. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do this with our camera and like sync it that way. Not easy. Not easy.
I'm also not sure if it's any better than my webcam would have been.
I don't think so. But like,
But we feel cool.
this is not an alcoholic beverage, even though Katie still doesn't believe that
I do know
sparkling
now.
water does not mean sparkling alcohol. So, let's see.
Do you want to give it one more minute and
We'll
then
give it
start
one
at
more
4:05? That is the right time. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. 4:05.
If the cat gets close enough, I'll show you the cat. She's not here yet.
Hey, will you watch that tripod?
Yeah, I'm watching her.
All right, 4:04 to 4:05. We'll do a rundown of what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about, and probably jump into it.
There we go.
4:05. All right. Hi, everyone. We're Katie and Joe. I'm Joe, and that's Katie.
Hello.
You can tell by the way it is. We've never done this before on this account, so we were pretty excited. We asked on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the other accounts, if you have any questions, let us know, and we will make a list, and we've got them. And surprisingly enough, more people asked us questions that are showed up for this.
That's okay. They'll watch
Yeah,
afterwards.
we've got like 16 questions, which is great. Like this live stream is going to live on our YouTube channel forever, hopefully, unless something else weird happens.
This
you
is
can always
just like
go
a
back.
casual thing. We've been editing through our backlog, but then we spent last weekend with my family in Las Vegas and decided to kind of take this week a little bit slower than
Yeah.
we have been. If you've ever tried to edit things all the time, 24/7, it gets a little tiring.
Yeah.
So we decided, let's try something new and I don't know, answer questions. I
Yeah.
feel like we get a lot of questions in our DMs when we post on Instagram stories and TikTok, and we've never directly addressed them if they weren't like a comment on a YouTube video.
Right.
So this was fun to have like a bit more of a conversation with stuff you all were interested in.
Right. We do get a lot of DMs, a lot of interesting questions about van life, about where to get more photos of my feet or like trucks, stuff like that. And we're always more than happy to help out if we have an answer,
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
If you have questions while we're sitting here and during this,
Throw
say
'em in.
them in the chat and we'll address them as they come up. If they come
Let's hope they come up.
up.
Ask questions. Any questions. All right. We have like 4 topics. We have van life, we have travel, we have U.S. national parks, and we have in general.
In general,
Which
where do you
is-
want to start?
Where do you want to start?
Start at the top.
Okay. Van life. On average, how many hours a week did you spend building your van? Not including the planning phase, only the execution phase.
Okay. So we were very privileged to have all of the time in the world to work on the van when the weather cooperated, because you left your corporate job
Right.
and I freelance. And so we full time were working on the van.
Yeah.
And I mean that full time. We probably spent some days upwards of 16 hours a day working on the van. And you might be like, then why did it take you so long? Well, we had to learn how to do everything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as simple as like if someone had come to the table, if we had known carpentry, plumbing, like all those things, I don't think we would have had to spend as long of days for as long as
Yeah.
we did. But because we didn't know those things, it was a bit of trial and error. It was learning on the fly. And yeah, so we did spend full days, 7 days a week for, I mean, probably 4 months straight.
Yeah, we were tracking everything that we were doing, obviously, with the van build. And at one point, we were like 21 days in, and we're like, we need to take a break.
And we had not taken a break at all.
Yeah.
We also fought the Colorado winter. We moved back to Colorado at basically the start of the van build. We only had the floor.
Yeah.
And then the weather quickly shifted. So we were working, but also like waiting out storm systems and like trying to heat up the garage to be warm enough to glue stuff. So it was a battle and a labor of love.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud with how it turned out. But I think if you're looking to build your own van, it probably wouldn't take quite as long as it did for us if you knew the tools and had a bit more understanding.
Right. Like, yeah, if you're a contractor, sure, you can build out vans quickly. But I think we spent a lot of time in like the preparation phase, like really like watching a lot of videos.
Yeah.
We've probably watched the same like Explorer's Life electrical video 10 times, 2.5
Hundreds of
hours
hours.
each. Like we're talking hundreds of hours of pre-pro before we decided like what we wanted to buy. I also think we overbuilt our van.
Oh, for sure.
Looking back at how we did it and what we did, like we would have simplified so much. Like,
And I think we'll probably do another video on that of like, if we did it again, what would we do? And I think we were at this point of transition in van builds. Like van life became very popular when COVID happened because people wanted to go places and you couldn't really fly safely or do any of that. So then van life kind of blew up. But the van that we have, the Ford Transit, that didn't come out until like we got it. And so all of these prefab van builders have been working on Sprinters or ProMasters. So we were also learning how to build into the Ford Transit.
right.
And then now, after we finished our van build, everyone's building on the platform.
Yeah.
And so there's so many more resources for like even prefab kits and things that, like, looking back, it's like dang, a year. Like if we had waited a little bit longer, like there's so many things where like the timing didn't fit perfectly for us to have like very seamless build. And looking back, it's like, oh, well, now if we did it, we could get a Ford Transit prefab kit that would fit right in and would probably take us a month tops.
Yeah. We went to Overland Expo. If you guys don't know what Overland Expo is, it's just a giant exposition about trucks, vans, trailers, stuff like that. And we went one year just like before we bought the van, or like the van was bought, but we hadn't taken delivery of it. And 99% of all the vans there were Sprinters.
And then when we went in the fall during our van build, I think we had the floor. We hadn't bought the batteries yet because we talked to Explorers Life at the Colorado Expo. And it was, again, no Ford Transits at all.
Yeah.
So everything that like was cool and made or things with like the CNC stuff wasn't for the Transits yet. So we were literally learning the carpentry, deciding how we want to build it. And it took a lot. Moral of the story is it took a long time. And I think now that we know how to use the tools and kind of know how to build stuff, we could do it so much faster.
Easily half the time.
Yeah. So if you are looking at building a van or you're currently building a van, hopefully some of our videos give you a little bit of insight. We were never experts and we never claimed to be. But just knowing that now there's a lot more resources, including some of the videos we put together, and then just everything out there on the market. It's just ballooned. It's incredible.
There are some like AVC Rig, the company that we bought our roof rack from. They're a local Colorado company. We love them. They're great. Super nice guys. They have like full kits that basically turnkey now, like wall panel systems that you buy. You literally, they ship them flat lay and you just install it. Boom. Now you have insulated walls. And
honestly, it probably would have been less expensive.
It would have been
we're tangenting huge on this, but it would have been way less expensive. Hindsight again. We just didn't know any better. And I think we had ambitious goals for what we want it to look like and feel like. And I think we did a great job. Like, I don't want to take that away from us, but I also think after having lived in the van for full time for 6 months, we were like, we probably didn't need that. We didn't need to do that. We didn't use this. We didn't use that. And I think that's just because we figured out how we traveled in a van, because we had done it before on a much shorter scale. But then after doing it, it's like, okay, like we spent a lot of money on this and probably didn't have to do that.
Right.
Which again, we'll make another video. I think that's probably something that interests. Let us know, because I find it interesting.
I think we should. I would love to do like a 10 things that we did, 10 things we wouldn't do.
10 things we regret.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I'm going to keep this on the positive spin. I don't think really regret any of it. We did learn a lot, and we built skills that'll move forward into our life. And we have a home that I guess you can't see in the shot, but that's right over there, parked on the street.
Big red van.
All right, you want to go to the next question?
How do you like your AC unit? Have you used it? What conditions? Worth the time, price, and effort? We have a Dometic RTX 2000 12 volt AC, and it was one of the more expensive things for the van. I think it was like upwards of $2,400 or something when we bought it.
And we also paid labor to help install it. We got Andrew, who you've seen on the channel before, from Rex Overland. That was how we met him. We hired him to help install it because it was heavy and I couldn't do it. So Joey and Andrew got it.
It's such a weird, like cutting a hole in the ceiling of a $60,000 van to drop in an AC unit, and like glue sandwich of like pieces of wood. It's so weird.
It was early days of the build, and it was scary.
Taking saws to sheets of metal. It works amazing. We use it all the time, and like we're not just saying like we use it all the time. Like anytime we sleep in the van, we use it.
It's on to a certain extent, and we did a pretty good job last year on our road trip of kind of following the mid temperatures. So like, unless we were in Death Valley or somewhere like crazy, you wouldn't consider it being like overly hot, but we were still using that. And if you saw last week's video, we were just in Texas and we had that cranking every night when we were on the road. I don't think we could do van life without the air conditioner.
Absolutely not.
So it is 1,000,000% worth the investment.
We are very like temperamental sleepers, and we need it to be cold.
Need it to be cooler. And vans get surprisingly hot.
Yeah.
So I would say that an air conditioning unit, whether it's the one we picked, which we like, it works. It's like
the only issue is that the light stays on while it's operating, which is so dumb because they know you're going to put your AC like right above your bed. And I don't want to see it.
The blue. Did invest in gaffer tape, but I do think that having an air conditioner is something that makes it more pleasant to be sleeping or just living in the van. Like I couldn't imagine working in that, even with we have a window that opens that we could get a little bit of a breeze, but I just don't think it's not the same. And when the weather's like a little bit sketchy, we can run the AC and be fine.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it. I like our RTX 2000.
Yep.
I think invest in it at whatever price point you can hit. But if you have the ability to put one in your van, highly recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. Great thing. Are you still enjoying van life?
Well, we haven't lived in the van since Texas a few weeks ago. I would say that it allowed us the freedom to get out and see places that would have been harder to get to if we didn't have the van.
Yes. I don't consider us van people, van lifers. I think this was a car that we built out that allowed us to go see 29 national parks last year, and it's going to allow us to see another 30 this year.
Yeah.
We are lucky that we have family that we can stay with in the greater Denver area, and it's been great. I don't know if we would have survived the last 7+ months that we've been here.
If we had just been parked somewhere,
yeah,
I think it would have been hard.
Yeah.
Because we've been, if you haven't noticed, we've been working really hard at putting out content and going through our backlog. So if we were just living and working and staying in one place in the van, we probably would have gone mad.
Yeah.
It's a small space. Having the freedom to be able to spread out here at this house and when we see my parents is definitely a blessing. But like on the road, van life was fun.
Van life's great.
And it was like, if we had slowed down a little bit and I feel like we may have talked about this on the channel before, but we were going very, very fast last year through all these parks. We had hard deadlines at different parks and then personal hard deadlines of where we needed to be. If we had slowed down, it would have been even better.
Yeah.
It would have been a little bit less driving on you.
Yeah. I did like 25,000 miles last year in a 25-foot long van.
It was a lot of driving. And I think van life, people have said it, if you've followed other van life people, there's always a sense of uncertainty. Unless you have a campground that you're going to. Mm-hmm. We tried really hard to not be paying for campgrounds every night because it gets expensive and starts to add up.
Yeah.
So when you're going from point A to point B and like having that freedom, it also comes with where are we going to sleep? There were times when we drove with like, oh, we're going to stop at 7 because that's what the GPS says. We'll be here. We get there and it's like, oh, wait, we have nowhere to park. Or we pulled into a Love's and it felt a little uncomfortable. Right. So we were like, we're not going to stay here. And we end up driving until 10, 11 p.m. And that's like obviously very draining for the driver, right. But also just very stressful of like, where are we going to sleep?
Right. It's exhausting. And like, you know, people know what it is. Like it's a giant red van. Like people know that we're sleeping in there and like we can't just park it. And a lot of parking lots aren't big enough for us to pull in. The ceilings aren't tall enough. So like we are very restricted on where we could be in that van. Which I think has a lot of like that issue is I write it's in my mind a lot. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And like being this, they like, you know, it's obvious we are a big red van. You'll see us somewhere. There's like uncertainty with that too, of like just being spotted out in the wild. And you can't hide. We never parked illegally when we were out there, but you can't pull off into a BLM land and feel like discreet when you're giant and red. Whereas if you had like a white van, you kind of blend in with the surrounding a little bit. We definitely stood out like a sore thumb.
But it was worth it because it looks good in photos.
It looks great. But I would say I love it. When we got back in the van for San Antonio, it had been quite a few months and it was like, oh, we're back in it. We can go places. Yeah. Like this is fun. We've really built a wonderful little home in that van. But knowing that it's more of our transportation, and yes, it's our home, but it's not like our goal is not to just live in the van all of the time. Right. We have bigger goals for our travel, for this channel, and for everything. But it's comforting to have. It is.
It's nice. Like it's nice to know that like we decided to go to Texas like 18 hours before.
Yeah, right before.
We were like the day of like we should probably go to Texas tomorrow, and we have the vehicle to do that. If we didn't. We don't have a car right now, so we couldn't have actually driven there.
It also, like, it was an event. We went for the eclipse. hotels were like $1,200
Yeah.
a night for a Motel 6. And
Yeah.
it's like, so it would have been astronomical. We were able to go, we got to see friends and stay with them. But even if we hadn't stayed with them, we would have had Clifford and places to stay.
Yeah.
So it's like that freedom to pick up. It's like the balance of having like somewhere to come home to, but then also the freedom to have that home. Whereas like, oh, you want to go see this? Well, we can because it's as simple as cleaning out the gross fridge and getting on the road.
We hate our fridge. No one asked that, but we're just saying.
Okay, new tangent. We bought some expensive fancy drinks to treat ourselves while we were in Texas and didn't drink them. And they've been in the fridge in the van and they exploded because the temperature of that fridge is so temperamental.
Yeah.
And I'm upset about it because I've been thinking about it. We just picked up the van again today and I wanted to drink it. And turns out it exploded. So today I get to go clean the fridge again.
Fun.
That was my tangent.
Great tangent. Would you build another van? Honestly,
I'll let you lead it.
probably not. I probably would not build another van. If we did, it would be a high roof, short wheelbase
Ooh.
Sprinter
Sprinter.
with like a 4x4 lift and everything. Basically, like, what's the most off-road capable van I could build with the lightest inside that I could make it? It would just be like bed platform that I could fully disassemble, hanging racks for the duffel bags, and kitchen would basically be like a foot pump for the water.
I feel like, okay, so I would do it again mainly because I like arts and crafts, and that was like a big arts and crafts project
The
for me.
ultimate arts and crafts.
But I think after having lived in it on the road full time for 6 months, we realized how little you really need.
Yeah.
And how like uncomplicated you could make it.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be, we were like feeling bougie when we were planning.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be like a house.
It's fucking live, laugh, love, like wood
Yeah.
planks and stuff. We got multiple color schemes going.
We got some signs on it for the Live Laugh Love. But I think now that we've lived on the road, it's like we could have just thrown a cot in there in a duffel bag and been on the road and been fine.
Yeah.
I think we wanted that home and realized that when you're on the road, it really doesn't matter. So like if you're just thinking about doing a van build, you can so simplify it and literally have duffel bags and an air mattress, and you would have just as good of a time as we did on the road.
Yeah, like our electrical system took us like basically a month.
Easily.
From like research to building and testing and all of that. We could have just got a Goal Zero.
Yeah, and then when
EcoFlow is a new company that has come out and basically been like, we are going to make the simplest van life solution that you can. And we have friends who are in the van building space who have completely gone to that because it's so easy and
simplified.
Simple. Yeah.
Yeah. And when 2 videos ago, if you've been following this channel, you saw us get ready for the road trip to Texas, and we whipped out the Dometic pump that I won at Overland Expo. And that was so simple to use. Loved it when we were in Texas. And it's like, oh, we spent forever figuring out this water system. We could have just had this jug with the pump in it. And the pump is so nice and it works great. And it's the same idea. It's just, you don't know until you know. So we're letting you know. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Yeah. No matter what you see online, you can go so simple and just live a wonderful life on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that buying a new van versus buying an older van where you don't know like where chemicals transported in it, what's the engine, has it been taken care of, things like that. Knowing that we have a 100,000-mile warranty on our Transit and
all the bells and whistles that come with a newer, safer vehicle, 100% that I think is worth the investment. Like if we had simplified the inside, that would have been phenomenal. But having that extra stability with all the new sensors, the cruise control thing that you have.
Yeah, like the adaptive cruise control.
The big screen.
Yeah, we've got like a big 13-inch screen. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So the newer, that investment for sure. Yeah. But simplifying the build, if we redid it, we would probably not use wood either.
No.
We would buy a kit. We would just go quick, whatever it is to do, quick, simple, and then get out on the road.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what like we kick ourselves is like, had we done that, this trip, national parks would be done. We would be sipping martinis in Italy or whatever.
Yeah. Like I've had 40 grand still in my pocket. Like, no, for sure though. I think that's
a lesson.
Yeah, and I think we thought about that too. It was like, okay, like we're spending all this money to build out this van that we had to buy and then build out whatever. What if we just bought a pre-made van from like Winnebago. Like that's what my mom did.
Yeah.
My mom, she's like 110 grand or whatever, and was like, all right, that's how much we spent. But she did it and started going on a trip literally the next day.
After making fun of us.
Yeah, after making fun of the idea. My mom was very anti-van life for a very long time.
Gosh, we love your mom though.
Yeah, like I had a dream job. I loved it. I really enjoyed what I did, and I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna be a van life influencer.
We're gonna travel.
Little does she know that we haven't made it, but no.
Get in there.
All right, next question. There are many options for nomadic life: van, truck plus camper, truck and trailer. Did we make the right choice?
Ooh, okay. So I would say yes and no. And I teeter towards, so yes, because of the size and the ability to be in the van and not have to go outside in the event of like bugs, which we encountered quite a bit.
Alaska. Andrew, I see you in here, so get ready for them bugs.
So I feel like if we had to pick differently, we may have gone the truck route after those 6 months on the road because we were a little limited. Granted, we had a motorcycle on the back of the van, which made our overhang even larger.
Yeah.
So we were a bit limited in where we would go, but also the fear of, we built that van, it's looking nice. We didn't want to like push our limits just yet in the brand new van,
right?
Of where we could take it, because I'm sure it's a bit more capable than we're comfortable with. But the idea when we were in Alaska, seeing these big trucks go in places, and it was like, dang, that's cool.
I mean, it's like not even like going places. We're like, all right, some like dirt roads, we weren't feeling confident doing it. And knowing that would be really nice to have like a truck with a truck topper, whether it be like a Scout or the four top camper, four season camper, whatever it is. Like they're all great options. They're basically all the same price and probably a little bit cheaper than what we spent to build out the van.
Live and learn.
Yeah, live and learn.
Yeah, I think now would potentially lean towards the truck option.
Yeah.
Just for it to also, if it's in the bed, you have the option to take it off, and then you have a truck.
Right, then we have a truck, and we don't have to like.
We have a van always, all the time. It is a RV van.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the reason I go back and forth is because the idea of getting out of bed and being able to get into the seats without complication
is great
for safety too, of like, oh, this is uncomfortable, we can drive away and not have to leave.
Especially like in bear country and boony country, like you don't know who's gonna be knocking on your door, and you're like, I don't want to have to get out and disassemble a pop top camper and lock it down to get out.
So like there's pros and cons everywhere. I think we made the right choice for us for dipping our toes into the nomadic lifestyle, because it's a house on wheels, and it made it relatively seamless. We built it fantastic, no issues. So I think we made the right choice. For the second one, as you like grow up and you move forward, we would probably consider the truck
Earth
camper.
Roamer. We're gonna buy Earth Roamer.
We need about 1 million more followers.
Something like an Earth Roamer, I think would be ideal. Like one of the smaller ones. I think that would be fantastic. I think a truck and a trailer never really crossed my mind. Having a trailer just seems really obnoxious
to tow, but then at the same time, it's like you can park that and then again have a car. I think what the stressful thing is constantly driving your car. You're driving your home in the van, and like so there's an elevated level of stress. There's stress everywhere all the time. But like if you had a camper, the first come first served camping spots, you could leave it there and then go explore, go to town. With a van, we can't. We can't. We have nowhere to go.
We have nowhere to go. I think was something that didn't really cross our mind until like halfway into the trip was we had a 2-door Ford Bronco, and we could have just kept that and put a rooftop tent on top, and like would that have been fine for the first few months of our trip?
And looking back, we probably would have been fine. Like we did 2 months in that Bronco, and we were fine.
Yeah, we were fine.
I think
Like we could have done a rooftop tent on it, or like we would have got like one of those smaller trailers
and just towed
like the off-road trailers. Like that would have been sick. So Ford, come at us.
I think all options have their pros and cons.
Yeah,
and it's like there's no right one. It's just what in your life you're looking for at that moment.
Yeah,
because now that we're more adventurous and like trust the open road and like are more comfortable being out away from everyone. That trip to Alaska was really educational and like
Yeah.
eye-opening. It's like, oh, if we did get a truck, we would feel comfortable driving hundreds of miles away from civilization.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had that level of comfort yet before. So now it's like, oh, we've seen bears before. Give a little tss if it comes at us, and then we'd be all right. Bear spray.
Bear spray. But like we follow people on YouTube who do this, who are doing the same thing that we're doing right now in a Prius. They retrofitted the back. They took the back seat out. They can lay in it. You know, and they get way better fuel economy than us, and they basically have everything that we have except for a shower.
I mean, we could have done this in a 2005 Chevy Malibu.
Probably not. There's a lot of magoos in it.
I feel like the biggest thing is like you can, if you want to go out and see the world, you don't need $100,000 van. You don't need you don't need it. You don't need any of that stuff. Like what you have now, whatever it may be to get you there, it will work. And if you want to see it, don't feel like you have to live up to the YouTube influencers, like all the BS you see online that we've helped spread. You don't need it. Just go out and it'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Travel. We're moving to sections.
Ooh.
We did van life. We have travel, U.S. national parks, and in general going. So at this point, this is going to be like a 3-hour live stream. Welcome. Get comfy. What has been our favorite area/state to visit? All right. Do you want to do this on the count of 3?
All right, count it in. Wait, 1, 2, and then say it on 3?
Yeah.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Alaska.
Pacific Northwest.
Damn, I thought it would be the same.
We can do it again. All right, let's say Alaska. 3, 2, 1.
Pacific
Alaska.
Northwest.
Damn it. Okay.
No, okay, but now that you say that, I get why.
Like I could never live in Alaska, but like we spent 7 weeks there last year.
There was
and we were planning a trip next year for another 2 weeks.
Magic in the air out there. I think
those are the mosquitoes.
There were, and I got bit, and it was a rough time for me. But there's in the lower 48, and we're from Colorado, so we've experienced wilderness, as you would say, like open space. It's not. We didn't grow up on the East Coast, so this wasn't unfamiliar to have like
big mountains,
miles and miles of view. But to go up to Alaska, where there's places where there's no people for millions of acres, and just raw wildlife, was just this something really fires you up in your soul of like, after going to the parks, you are already eye-open to the importance of protecting these lands.
Yes.
And then you go up and see what it looks like to still be very protected and not have the mass population boom that you see in Colorado has changed drastically within the last decade. And you're just like, wow, it's incredible that that still exists on Earth. And I pray that we will never stop protecting it.
Yeah.
Because it's unlike anywhere else in the world. So
like I talk about Gates of the Arctic a lot, and it's my favorite national park. It's top 3. Most days my favorite. It was the most surreal hour that I've ever had. It was so quiet. The only thing I heard was like the wind in the trees and the lake or the river kind of falling, going down the river. And it was so beautiful that like a place like that exists.
And that we could go to it.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And like we've been to remote places and there's not a silence like what there was in Gates.
Yeah.
It just blew our minds. And I think that's my favorite just for that reason, because we've been into some very awe-inspiring places on this trip. But that one is like, you cannot replicate that anywhere. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Protect our lands.
Seriously.
What were we talking about? Because I got
favorite areas.
very
in the Pacific Northwest. Basically all of Washington is stunning no matter which way you look. And the national parks there and the national forests and all of that. Like, I understand why so many of the like travel nature influencers are from the Northwest.
Yeah.
Like, you could be the worst photographer ever and just wear a red jacket in a mossy forest and boom.
It's gorgeous. And there's just so much within that drive too. Like we got from redwoods to Crater, and if we had done the coast of Oregon, which I hear is beautiful as well. I've never
and Tillamook.
And obviously cheese. Hike and cheese. You've probably seen that on our channel too. Yeah, I think killed him. Okay. Well, Joey chokes. Okay. I would say, yeah, Pacific Northwest,
Hiking cheese.
hiking cheese.
Hiking cheese.
There's so
Ah.
much beauty in the US that I think I'm gonna skip ahead
Okay.
because we had a question that says why the national parks, and it's like kind of one that I feel like both of us have had like a little bit of frustration with recently. But when we started this, when he ordered the van, it took 11 months to get, so we didn't even have it. So we're in like early-ish days of COVID. The world had shut down. When you put the order in, I was working the extreme stuff for international travel. But for that, it was constant testing, constant anxiety. I went around the world, but it was like, you can't go into everywhere. You also need all these tests. It was like, if I had been positive, I couldn't do my job. I couldn't go on that flight and all of these things. So it was like, what can we do where we still get to travel and have like those experiences? So it's like, oh, the US is beautiful. We've seen some of it. Why not make it a US road trip and see that stuff? Well, there was so much uncertainty in the greater international world.
Right.
And so we committed to that and we went all in, all of the research and planning and everything. And then the world started to open up, and wonderful. That is great. And we went out to the national parks and we started to see the beauty that is the US. And I don't regret that at all. But then we see how the world is open and how we have dreams of going further and seeing more, doing more international experiences. And then to be not necessarily stuck, because I think are very committed to seeing these parks and to getting the full experience, but to be like, oh, the world opened back up and we invested heavily in this van and we can't really go international right now.
Right.
It's
like, frustrating.
It hurts.
It's frustrating because like
honest talk,
you know,
right
like
now.
we love international travel. Like that's why we started this channel. Like we want to share our passions and hopefully excite you to feel comfortable, you know, stepping on a plane, stepping on a boat, going to a local park, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you know, we have a lot of experience traveling. Like we've gone to probably 40 countries together. Like my last year when I was living in Germany, like I took almost 100 flights in a year. Like I was flying every like 3.5 days and
seeing new cultures,
new foods, meet new people,
new languages.
Like we love the feeling of getting out of our comfort zone and like going someplace new, trying something, whatever it may be. And right now we're in America,
which is like did see new, like Alaska. A lot of these places are new to us, but I think if you've ever been abroad, you know that it's a different type of new.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of discomfort that travelers often crave. And then to know that we've committed to seeing these things, we're halfway done, we have another half. And it's like, oh, someone we know is in Japan. I would love to be in Japan eating ramen. Someone we know is going to Europe. And it's just like, there's always like a little bit of envy. And I think that comes with, I mean, just life and social media too, spending so much time posting about travel and then seeing it and being like, well, we're right here at the house because we have 29 national park videos that we have to make. And it's like such a blessing that we saw that and did that, but then feeling a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
And then also the world just started to open anew. Just like we said, when we built the van, all of a sudden a year into it, everyone has the Ford Transit. So it's like kind of running into a wall. Like we're too early, we're too late, it just is not kind of meshed yet. And it's life. Life is messy and all of that. So it's like seeing the best of what we have now, getting to share these videos with you, getting the opportunity to go back on the road, hopefully soon, to see the other national parks and the beauty of the US, because it really is amazing. If you haven't explored the US, you need to explore the US. So I don't want to discredit that at all. But I think the dream is to go further.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that took us again on a tangent.
No, I think
tangents with Katie.
I think that's a good tangent to go on because I think we are both kind of in that like mindset right now. We're like, we need to finish this so we can start the second part of this channel, which is international.
Yeah, showing more of the world and not just our own backyard and all of that. Especially since now so much of the world has reopened. It's just like there's a drive in there for us to be able to go and find more stories and more opportunities to share on this channel and just experience in life. So we can circle back to the regular question.
All right. Best hot dog
That's a good one.
on our travels. So like,
I think this is hands down both agreement.
Are we talking like hot dog on our van trip or hot dog in all of our travel?
In all life.
Oh, okay. 3, 2, 1.
Copenhagen.
Yeah, they got fried crispy onions. So good. I don't know why. It's just they got good hot dogs up there.
They're really good.
Yeah. Like I don't think I'd ever. We lived in New York for years, and I never had a street hot dog there. But like,
I've had one New York street hot dog, but it wasn't memorable.
Yeah.
Not like Copenhagen. I dream about that hot dog.
they're so good. We had one in the airport. We had multiple ones during the Christmas market. Yeah. I feel like I don't know what it is, but we find one food item in each country, and like that's all we eat. Like, what did we eat in Japan?
Egg sandwiches from 7-Eleven.
Right, that's all we ate. That's basically all we ate. In Copenhagen, all we ate was basically hot dogs. Like,
no.
And what did we eat in Germany?
What did we eat?
Kebabs.
Oh, doner kebabs.
Doner kebabs. What did we have in Italy? Bellinis.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, way back in the day, I don't know how internet sleuthy you've been or how much you like us, but Joey has a secret internet account called Joey's Hot Dogs.
That's true.
Where he was documenting, and by he I mean me. I was documenting him eating hot dogs all over the world.
Around the world.
Once I find that password, we'll get that back up and running, because it actually really is fun to see the different takes of a hot dog in other countries.
And hot dog on a stick follows me, so I might be maybe the second or the third most famous hot dog influencer outside of like Joey Chestnut and
Kobayashi. You've never eaten that many hot dogs in one sitting.
That's true. Best ice cream.
Okay. Torn. I think you'll say the one I'm torn between, so I'll say the one that I'm gonna say. We went to a little ice cream parlor in Anchorage, and they had a peach whiskey ice cream.
I forgot about that one.
That was so good. And then we talked about going back there on our way out of town, and we forgot. And then we were 4 hours outside of Anchorage, and I was like,
we should go back.
We didn't get the ice cream. It was phenomenal. I don't remember the name. If I find it, I will somehow tell it to the internet. But the peach whiskey, amazing. Okay, which one do you?
The one in Squeamish in British Columbia, the New Zealand style ice cream.
Ooh, off the Sea to Sky highway. That was
good. Or Handles in Southern California, which is more like traditional ice cream. The New Zealand ice cream is
kind of
really
a chain.
Yeah.
I guess the Anchorage one could have been too. I don't know.
But very good.
New Zealand ice cream was very interesting. It felt fresh. It
felt like just really healthy ice cream, which feels good when you're eating a gallon of it. Healthy. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, clearly we like food.
City/country that we're most excited to revisit.
What have I been dreaming of recently?
Tokyo.
Japan will always be highly on the list. I think that it's a special place.
Japan's on the list.
Where would I like to revisit?
You want to go to Sardinia?
Ooh, yes. I went to Sardinia for work in 2021 and had one of the best pizzas of my life. And I eat a lot of pizza, so I feel like that's saying something. And I would love to be able to bring you and show you that, and just it's like the warm beach vibes, but like Italian beach vibes.
These are my people. No, but I've been like, I don't know. We've been watching a lot of travel videos. That's the issue. Like, we're in the travel world,
but we also consume. We consume all the
so
time.
much. We watch so many travel people, and like this is like our new friend group. It's wild how like quickly we've like developed these little core groups. Friends, but like Detour Duo, sorry, A&K, Kinging It, like
Travel Beans.
They're all so good and so unique what they do, and we just love it. We love watching them, and it's like when like Sunday morning we'll show up and like, oh, there's a new Travel Beans. We're so excited. Or Kinging It, like they have their new house, like whatever their story that they're telling is, we're so invested.
I hope you all are invested in us like that. Or we'll get there. Yeah, but that has been kind of like a fun weekend or just morning tradition. We'll make coffee before we start the day to work, and we'll just watch a travel video.
Yeah.
We'll watch Downey live at the Bahrain GP. We'll watch just other people out in the world, and I think that again was the double-edged sword of we're consuming all these people doing amazing things, and we did amazing things last year, but we've been a bit stagnant to get through our backlog to learn how to comfortably talk on camera, to be better storytellers so that you guys get a better viewing experience. So it's like we're in this learning building stage where we're not on the road and we're dreaming of being out in the world.
Yeah. I think when we were finishing up our van trip last year, we were so excited to have a little bit of like, be stationary for a bit. And we're now at the point where like we want to get back on the road, but like financially
it's not there yet.
It's not there yet.
And subscribe.
So frustrating.
We have a
Patreon. we have 2 comments. We have 3. One says, "Let's go."
Yeah.
We have Nina who says, "Have you had the New Zealand ice cream from the place at Edgewater Market?" We have. Well, I have. I don't know if Katie hasn't.
So
we can go get ice cream.
Damn, what I'm doing later. I don't know where that place is, but
it's where Nina's old house used to be. Like Sloan's Lake is far.
Okay.
Especially in a big red van. We already had that issue. And then Nina likes to know that she likes Neen's travel channel, which doesn't exist.
It could though.
It could. She does have a running TikTok.
Your dreams. And if that's your dream, go for it.
I like Nina. She did like a silent book review on TikTok.
She's got a little microphone.
All right.
Would you subscribe if we got little microphones?
All right. What city country are you most excited to visit for the first time? Ooh. I am very intrigued with all of China right now. I could spend years in China. I think the food is super interesting. I think the cities and how they operate are super interesting. And just like
the countryside
how drastic the 40 million plus person city is, and it's 30 minutes away from a village with 10 people. Like, very intrigued with all of China. It seems like there's so many beautiful areas that we don't know about as Americans because like it doesn't get through on social media.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would say I very much want to go to Iceland and New Zealand. And I think I would love to see the Northern Lights. I've seen them once, but it wasn't so bright that the naked eye could pick up any of the colors. It was just when you hit the shutter, the camera picked it up. And I always see wonderful like pictures of the Northern Lights in Iceland, but also just like the hiking. It intrigues me. The openness. Maybe that's probably why I
There's
like
no
Alaska
animals
too.
to eat us.
Less bugs.
Less bears. No snakes.
Spooky things. I think. And New Zealand along the same lines of just like expansive wilderness and beauty, and also just like I want to do a Hobbit tour.
Yes, yeah.
I want to pretend like I'm in Lord of the Rings, and ride a horse with a sword. So
we were literally talking about Iceland the other day, and I got on a tangent and was like, "What kind of cool cars can I rent in Iceland? Like, I want like a Suzuki Jimny. I want an old like a Gen 2 Defender. Like, so much."
We were like literally doing that yesterday.
Yeah,
we dream of these things.
This is our life. Like, this is not just a show. Like, there are some influencers out there that like I don't think they actually enjoy traveling. We can't wait to travel.
Can't wait to see it.
Can't wait. National parks. Why? Oh, this is the third section. We did van life. We did travel. Now we have national parks. Why national parks? We kind of went over it.
We did. I think I'll just recap it really quick. If you're just joining us, welcome. We picked national parks at a time of uncertainty during COVID, knowing that we could go there because international wasn't an option. So we were like, let's go see our own country. And since then, we've discovered there are so many hidden gems here. And if you've not been to many national parks in the United States or have not been to any, I would highly recommend following and liking this channel, but also just looking into it, because you can be so jaded when you're a travel person, I guess America based, of looking beyond the borders of like, oh, it's so pretty there, like it's so beautiful, we have to fly to Europe to see these things. And there is so much to offer in America that if that's what you can do, and that's the like travel you can do right now, absolutely do it. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yay, national parks.
What national park are you most excited for next?
Okay, so mine.
So what have we seen?
we've seen basically the entire West, and for this channel's purposes, not Utah or Colorado, which
Right.
we have personally been to.
Right.
We don't have American Samoa and Haleakala in Hawaii, but everything else in the West we have tackled.
Yep.
So we basically have Utah, which again is places we have been to already, but not for this channel. Utah, Colorado, and then everything east, and then north as well. We didn't get to go to Glacier or Yellowstone or anything there. So quite a few, 34 actually. I would say the one that pulls me the most right now is Acadia, which we've been to, but we had such an amazing time when we went with my family. And then this is one of the parks that we're hopefully going to be able to do with some friends of ours and their family. And the blessing of this national park trip has been being able to reconnect with friends in the US.
Yeah.
And that park was amazing when we went, and I feel like would be just as special when we get to go again.
Agreed.
So that's high on my list.
I think that's high up there. I really have enjoyed the least visited national parks, which we actually just made a video about. You guys should go watch. So I'm really excited for Isle Royale, which is in the northern part of Michigan, up in one of the Great Lakes on the border of like Canada. It's very remote. Only like 30,000 people ever make it there in a year. So like it's one of the top 10.
At least.
That sounds fun. What else?
I think Glacier.
I like caves.
You love caves.
I love caves. Carlsbad Caverns was fantastic. We've already been to it, but there are
Mammoth Caves,
which is north of us, and then there's the Arkansas Caves, which isn't a national park.
But there are caves. So
but there are
probably
caves.
Gonna go.
Cave people.
Yeah, I think I'm intrigued by some of the unfortunately most visited. Well, I don't know why I said unfortunately, but Glacier and Yellowstone. I've never been to either of those, and those are like, well, one was the original national park, and the other is just like a gem from what I hear. So I am looking forward to that, but not the crowds that are associated with it. So I think that's why they're not necessarily at the top of my list. I feel like they're probably going to be the most beautiful, but what's remaining,
the most
stressful as well.
Everyone we listen to, if you guys don't listen to Matt and Kim Smith, so like the Dear Bob and Sue
podcast,
they're fantastic. They are an older couple who made it their life goal to like retire and go see all the national parks,
and they did it, and they wrote a book, and it's amazing.
And then they wrote 2 more books,
and they have a podcast. So.
But they were talking about Yellowstone, like. You have to start planning a year and a half in advance. And we're like, well, Glacier, we might just like hopefully show up in a few weeks and like
do our best.
But
that again, it goes back to the perk of the van. Is if we can find somewhere to camp, whether it's BLM or a Love's parking lot.
We love Love's.
It does give us that freedom because the hotels you 100% need to do in advance. And if you ever get lucky enough to do a lodge, you're a year and a half at least.
Yeah, like we would love to do a lodge stay, especially like in Denali. We would love to do the lodge like the 80 plus miles away. Where you have to like basically 96. You have to be like at this point helicoptered in because the bus route can't get there. We would love to do that. We'd love to spend a week in the middle of nowhere, Denali. But that is a lot of money.
It's expensive.
That's really expensive. Like some of the nicest hotels. And they're more expensive than that.
I think I'm going to go on another tangent. I think that's something that was really surprising is how expensive it is to get to the national parks. And I couldn't imagine the added expense if we didn't have the van.
Well,
the hotels and all that stuff. I think you did the math.
I did the math. It was been like $40,000
of just hotels, and that doesn't include the rental car that you would need because most of these places aren't on a public transit route because they're more in nature. So it's just like incredible how expensive, because when you start to pull the numbers, it's like, oh, for that you could literally have flown to Japan and eaten egg salad sandwiches for 3 weeks. So yeah, that was a side tangent I just started thinking about.
Or Lisbon.
Pastel
donadas. We just need to become food vloggers.
we don't eat much on this channel, but we love food, so maybe we're gonna start doing that more.
Which national park are we least excited to visit?
I think that I am not particularly gung-ho about visiting the St. Louis Arch, mainly because I've already been.
Same.
I went with my dad and we got to go to the top, and that little elevator to the top was so cool. But it's one of those things where it's like I've been there and it's not near a lot of places that I want to see again. So it's like it'll be a drive just to see an arch, which is fine.
Yeah.
But not overly excited for that journey.
That and Hot Springs in Arkansas.
Yeah. That one we've obviously indulged in so many videos on these. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot to do at that park.
Yeah.
Or
it might be great. Like, we aren't super ambitious hikers anyway, so like
it might be nice
we
not to have to do a
love
10-mile
reading
hike.
placards, so it might be great.
Yeah. I think what's cool is that I think we'll be pleasantly surprised for those, like, and find the bright side of that.
Yeah.
There's a reason it got chosen, and whether that reason is very intriguing like some of the other ones, I don't want to give away our talking points for the upcoming parks, but we've learned some like history of some of these, and it's like part hilarious and part like you go making that a national park.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be like it'll all be great. I'm not excited to go, but when we get there, I think we'll have a good time.
I think we'll have a good time. We always have a good time, and that is reason enough for you to subscribe and watch that video when we have it. Because you never know the wild shenanigans that we might get ourselves into in Arkansas Hot Springs. What national park have you visited that has not kept up to the hype?
I would say.
Very intrigued because I don't have an answer.
Well, you thought I was going to answer. This was going to be a non-answer. I think that every place, even the super hyped up ones like Yosemite, when we went to Yosemite, that was my very first time. I had never seen that in person. And I was like, I get it. I get why people wait in line to see this viewpoint. Like, I understand it. I don't think we went to a place that had hype and were like, ugh, or felt bamboozled, because you can, with a camera, you can trick the scenery to make it seem more spectacular. It's like the do, and then you pan and it's like wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was really that vibe at any of the places that are sort of like the popular parks.
I think every park by itself, if you remove every person from the park, is beautiful. It's beautiful. They're unique. There's a lot to learn. There's so much history. It's great. National parks are great, and we should cherish them, and we should do everything we can to support the system. That being said, Joshua Tree was ruined for me because just the people who were there. It was some of the rudest people I've ever met. People off trail. People get off trail and they're like, you probably shouldn't get off trail. And then they like turn around and get stuck by a cactus in 6 places. Like, karma.
But I would have maybe said that, but then when we were going back through the footage, we were like, whoa, because we left with kind of a poor taste in our mouth because we had seen like people off trail, people disrespecting like the nature, and then when we left, we were like, that was pretty low on our list. And when we started to go through the footage and had like a minute to breathe, it was like, whoa, that was actually beautiful. I could see why so many people go.
Yeah.
I don't think anything I felt disappointed with of the park itself. You could get disappointed with the crowds. You can get disappointed not getting a permit that you wanted, like those things. But I don't think we went to one park and we're like, why do people come here?
And I think there are a lot of parks that were the opposite of, why don't more people come here? I think some of the best hiking that we did on the national park trip was at Pinnacles, which is like 3 hours west of Yosemite. And we saw condors.
And it's one of the it's a lesser visited California park.
One of the bottom 15.
Well, because they don't have the infrastructure. The parking is very limited. We were told multiple times that if you go in a busy part of the year, you could maybe not be let into the park because there's just nowhere to stop. And we saw that. There were very few parking spots. But I think we had more fun on that hike that we did there than we had in all the parks leading up to that, and then few times after it. So yeah, I think there's like the inverse. Ones that don't get the hype, but then you're like, how much hype do we want to give it? Because I don't want it to be crowded.
Right. You don't want to tell people that you should go to Pinnacles or Crater Lake or whatever.
We won't gatekeep it, but at the same time, I'm glad they're testing things out to where it's not an overwhelming experience to visit on the land and on the animals and all that stuff. So.
All right. I think that's it for national parks. Oh, least favorite. I guess.
I don't think we enjoyed, you probably already know this, Petrified Forest National Park, and that we hit it on a very windy day.
I lost the
We
hat.
He lost his favorite hat that he had for 2 days.
My brother gave it to me, and it meant a lot. And we had matching hats, and I
That was
lost
cute.
mine.
Yeah. So we also aren't super into geology. I took geology in college, but that was not a place of interest. Whereas if someone was really into fossils and rocks and petrified stuff, they would have a blast. There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
But the wind played a big factor in that. And then it was on one of like the smaller parks with very limited hours. So you can't necessarily hit that park at the best time of day because it's just not open. Which is fine. They can have whatever hours they want. But I think that's just the one that we would not go out of our way to go to again.
No.
I would go to it again if I was there. I'd probably try to shoot some stars or something, but I would not make a trip to Petrified Forest.
It was very hard to get to. Middle of nowhere. It had weird operating hours.
Yeah.
What we wanted to do, we couldn't do, and that was frustrating because that was our lack of research into what we could do, which was shoot the sunrise.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's a nice park, but wouldn't go out of our way. So we do have a least. So I answered that one.
I know, it's sad. In general, so we've gone van life, we've gone travel, now
Okay.
U.S. national parks, and now we're going to in general. Where are you? Are you traveling?
Well, I don't know if you could tell, but we're sitting in nice chairs in the backyard. We are in Colorado. We have not been on the road except for that road trip to Texas for the channel. We've
Mhm.
been to a few other places, but not for Katie and Joe on the go. And we've just been cranking through the backlog.
Yeah.
So we're not traveling. We're trying to get the business up and running because, like we've said, if you've been here this whole time or know the channel, Joey left his corporate job. I still freelance on some things, but the financial stability left when we left the corporate world. So making sure that this is sustainable through our different avenues of income generation, which is this channel, our blog. If you haven't been to Katie and Joe on the Go, Joey did a really good job building that up from the ground, transferring it over to a new platform. And it's a work in progress, but it's looking really good, and he's worked really hard. And we're just trying to come up with income streams so that this is sustainable, because we do feel like we can share those stories and provide value to the world through content creation and storytelling and all those things. So no, we're not traveling right now. Would we love to travel? Absolutely. Does it kill us that we're not?
Yeah.
Yes, but it is for the best for the business to be able to go through all the stuff we shot, to be able to learn to be more comfortable on camera, and just so many lessons and learnings and things that, while frustrating that we aren't out exploring, are probably for the best.
It's for the best. I think we're going to make ourselves a much stronger content unit, or whatever we want to call ourselves, as we get back on the road. You know, we're getting more comfortable on camera, like Katie said, but we're also getting more comfortable with the business side of things, like talking to brands, talking to tourism boards, all of those things. So like when we do get on the road, you know, hopefully, you know, these videos are going to be sponsored by not just me and Katie's bank account, but, you know,
My mom.
Arlington Tourism, or, you know, South Dakota Tourism Board, or Lululemon.
Because we do feel like we can provide value, and I think that the business side is hard to build, and like we're sitting on content. It would be foolish to be out gallivanting the world without going through that stuff, or else the whole last year was a loss.
Right,
Like,
it'll never get done. Yeah, and I think the brands that we have worked with in the past, they are super happy with what we've produced. Right, we worked with Ram Trucks at Macy's Day Parade, and like we had the best performing photos and videos of the channel of the year. Which is fantastic. We worked with Arby's. They loved our work. We worked with Norwegian Cruise Line. Like, they loved our stuff too. Like, we were just waiting for our channel to be just a little bit bigger, and then we'll start being able to bring in a lot more money.
Yeah. And like the reality of it is, in order to be able to travel, write about it, provide resources, make videos, is that there has to be money coming in. So it's not like, I feel like I don't want it to be like, oh, we're just chasing the dollar. Like that's the only reason we're doing this content. It's no, we want the freedom to be able to.
I'll tell you, I made way more money in
Yeah.
advertising than I have at this.
Yeah, but we also learn life lessons in the corporate world of life is so short and so precious that if you're miserable, the paycheck doesn't counteract the misery. And so we're really trying to make this work sustainably, which means we have to make income. So if you see an ad or an affiliate link and you need to buy that, use our link because it helps us and it helps us provide valuable resources and travel resources to you. I don't want to feel like those just influencers out just like chasing money, chasing brand deals because it's
Drink AG1.
but we would if you gave us money. Just the reality is you have to generate income. So we're trying to find a balance with that. And just if we're ever promoting something on the page or working with someone, it's because we believe in it.
Yeah.
I hold myself to a very high standard.
Me, not so much.
And moral compass of like, we won't share things with you if we don't believe in them.
Right.
And I put my word behind that. I wouldn't just start schlepping products just to do it. But also, if you wanted to sponsor this channel, you can let us know by emailing us.
Okay. What's the plan after you finish the national park trip?
What is it?
I think we're going to sell the van, and we're going to probably go to Southeast Asia or Eastern Europe, and we're going to spend 3 to 6 months there, backpacking, doing whatever. So we are really into like slow travel. So the idea would be like we would go to Lisbon and we would get an apartment for like 3 weeks, and we would explore everything that city has to offer. At that time, we would make videos, we'd do a food tour, we'd learn to cook, we would do all of the things that we want to do in Lisbon, and feel comfortable being able to move on to another city or another region and do the same thing there.
Yeah, I think what we learned last year with the 6 months on the road is that speed can suck the joy out of travel. And we see that with a lot of other travel content creators and people on YouTube of just getting burnt out constantly on a plane, constantly on the move. And I think the goal for us was never to see as many things as possible as quickly as possible. It was to immerse ourselves and learn about the world and share that. And hopefully next after the national parks is being able to go, sorry about the plane, being able to go abroad and share deeper stories and more insight to the places that we go than just a one-off video where we spent 2 days in a country.
Right.
I think that's the long-term goal, is to travel slowly and deeply and share those stories with the world.
Yeah. What's been the hardest part of trying to become travel influencers?
Becoming influential.
Becoming profitable.
Profitable. Yeah.
We just kind of discussed that, but
I think it's hard to build an audience. I think it's hard to not compare yourself to other people. And I think it's hard to find peace with us and our content and our journey when also seeing people get everything they want and more in our dreams fulfilled while we're still in the trenches and struggling.
Yeah.
And like there's always a little bit of envy, especially since we're still in the like fighting battle struggling stage to build the influence and build the profitability, and then to look and someone gets one viral video and all of a sudden they have brand deals and infinite money coming in. And it's just like trying to be at peace with our journey and not have too much jealousy, because it's there. I'll admit it. It's there.
It's stressful. It really is. They say comparison is the thief of joy.
What it
and
is.
It is. Like, we have worked very hard since we got back from our trip. We have posted, so in 2024, we've posted a short form video every single day. And the amount of time that we put into editing, to building a website, to learning all of these programs, to having these conversations with brands that are basically just like, your content's really good,
but you don't have
enough followers. Like, to know that a 5-figure paycheck is 10,000 followers away for multiple brands is really frustrating.
Yeah.
And when we see people with and it's really hard to judge creativity and content, all of that, but like, we think our content is really good, especially like short form stuff on Instagram and TikTok,
and it's improving and we're growing.
It's getting better and all of that. But like, when you see someone who's like, oh, that's not a really good video, like, I don't understand it, the audio is terrible, like, what was the point of this? And boom, it now has 10 million views. And that 10 million views means that she just brought in 70, or they
It
just
means
brought
that they
in
can
50,000
eat dinner
followers.
that week. So it's that the comparison thing is hard, and it's like we're opening up about that because we could easily deny that, but like there is always a level of comparison and then a bit of jealousy because the hard work, you cannot deny that we've worked so hard the last few months trying to put all this stuff together.
Yeah.
But the luck that plays a part in anything just hasn't hit for us yet.
Right.
So it's just that we're going to continue to grind and work as hard as we can and just hope that it
Pays
will
off.
pay off and that we will get that little element of luck because that's always there. You can put out the most amazing content in the world and not have the luck of the algorithm, the luck of whatever to get the eyes on it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep grinding for you and for us so that we can eat and make
I
a van
really
payment.
don't want to go back to the advertising industry. So
we're going to
like and
keep working our
subscribe.
butts off. Like and subscribe, go to
Yeah.
our Patreon, go to our website, and give us feedback. Like if you're like, you know what, you actually really suck at editing, then I'll go and sit in an editing course and continue to learn. So yeah, we're on this journey. We're trying our best. We are working our butts off behind the scenes, and hopefully you will continue to enjoy our content because we haven't even gotten to some of the coolest stuff we've done last year.
Yeah,
on that
we
road
haven't
trip.
touched Alaska yet.
Yeah, so there's so much more to come and beyond that as well, and we're just really grateful for the people that are watching now. Oh
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
Hi.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's kind of it.
that's it. If you want to ask any more questions, the DMs are always open. Joey monitors that stuff really well. And like we said, we're really happy to help travel questions, van questions, life questions, whatever. We have insight. Like it doesn't mean we did the right thing, but we're willing to tell you when we messed up. So we can hopefully provide some good information. All right. What do you
I think that's it.
I don't know how to end this.
No, hour and 11 minutes. I feel like we are 40 minutes longer than I thought we were going to talk.
I told you I could talk for ages.
That's true. It's a really nice day. Last 3 days it's been snowing and raining here, and right now it's sunny and we're outside. It's a little cold, but we're gonna take the dog for a WALK.
Wait, I'm not gonna end it until I show you the cat. So hold on. So thank you for watching. Very grateful for everyone. But I'm gonna get the cat.
You gotta get the cat. It's very important. She's our cat. Mom. She's coming. She's coming. Also, we were in Vegas a few weeks ago, and we saw a magic show from a guy named Piff the Magic Dragon.
It was really fun.
It was fun. This is the cat.
This is Holly B.
You can
She's
tell.
not our cat. She's Joey's mom's cat. And
Sometimes she lets us pick her
she
up.
likes to be outside.
She doesn't like being on TV, though.
But she's not on her leash, so I gotta let her down.
All right, that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you have comments, questions, whatever, you know where to get at us. Bye.
Thank you.